Good afternoon, and welcome to our Mayor's State of the City address. My name is Jeff Wilson. I am your Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors Chairman for this year, 2013. In my everyday life, I own and operate Valandry Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. It is indeed an honor for your Chamber of Commerce to present the 11th Annual Mayor's State of the City address. The Chamber's mission is to create an environment that encourages business success while enhancing the quality of life in our region. Mayor Brown has been a key partner in fulfilling this mission since he was first elected to the mayor's office in June of 2000. Mayor Brown has provided proven leadership. He is results-oriented and brings a can-do attitude to the mayor's office and to this city. He keeps Grand Forks moving forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Mayor of Grand Forks, Dr. Michael Brown.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, and fellow citizens of Grand Forks, including my wife Ann and my son Grady, welcome and thank you for being here today. Well, you've seen the brochures, you've heard the promotions, and now the big day is finally here. You're here to find out about the big plan. Actually, the big plan got started last year when I unveiled the Grand Forks Promise, the promise that everyone has opportunities to grow. The big plan is really the next logical step to build on the Grand Forks Promise. You'll remember the Grand Forks Promise has 5 distinct pillars: a safe community, an affordable place to live and do business, a commitment to young people, rich cultural and health experiences, and opportunities to be engaged. Those pillars are the foundation of a building that we continue to add to build on, and to grow. The big plan is the next construction phase, putting the roof on the pillars, if you will. Just consider what we accomplished in 2012. We saw Grand Forks continue to grow as a destination city, with our sales tax revenue up more than 10% from the previous year. We celebrated as United Way broke the $1 million fundraising mark. The Alara Center, under the first full year being managed directly by city employees, showed net profits in excess of $950,000. UND's economic impact grows with reaching 15,000 students, and the total economic impact of student spending is $259 million. Last week, we received word of another big month of sales tax revenue in Grand Forks. The February figures, which reflect December sales tax, were $1.8 million, the 6th highest monthly total ever recorded. We're creating a safer community, especially for our youth, with launching the Safer Tomorrows program, a national pilot program which puts in place the people, the programs, and the tools to decrease exposure to violence for all children. The Community Violence Intervention Center, Lutheran Social Services of North Dakota, and the Grand Forks School District are leading the project with dozens of countywide partners. Also part of the safety pillar, the Grand Forks 911 Center entered into a partnership with the Red River Regional Valley Dispatch in Fargo and North Dakota Information Technology Division to provide backups among our systems. The importance of that was never more evident than last August when our 911 center took a direct lightning hit, and yet our citizens never experienced a disruption in their 911 service. The number of property crimes investigated, far and away the most frequent calls the police department receives, decreased by 7% last year. The men and women of the Grand Forks Fire Department are also hard at work. 2012 was the busiest year on record for our firefighters as they responded to more than 4,000 emergencies. To provide even better response times, we have a plan in place to open a new Southeast Fire Station in 2016. Communication is the key to responsive and accountable government. That's why we implemented the 311 call system that connects you directly to the Public Information Center. You'll also see a newly designed city webpage that was developed collaboratively with the UND Marketing Group, offering more functionality, better navigation, and some pretty cool videos. On September 24th, we celebrate another component of the Grand Forks Promise, rich cultural and health experiences, with the opening of the new Choice Health and Fitness Center on South Washington. This $23 million facility has already surpassed the membership goals it had hoped to achieve by 2014, and new members continue to sign up every day. The Greenway continues to shine as a jewel of our community, with more activities and events like the Wild Hog Marathon and the inspiring extreme adventure races that continue to energize our community spirit, and Rolling on the River, the 4th largest inline marathon event in the country. Our Public Health Department also contributes in many ways to support the Grand Forks Promise. They, in partnership with All True Health System, responded quickly and thoroughly when a tuberculosis outbreak threatened our community, containing the spread through testing and treatment. We have a strong family and youth-friendly community. We take pride in our schools, parks, programs, and activities for family and youth. Grand Forks has been recognized 6 times for being one of the 100 best communities for young people by America's Promise Alliance. Our Youth Commission continues to amaze as well, and they have partnered with us on many efforts and even launched their own effort, including Think Twice, a campaign to address cyberbullying. You want to stay tuned for some special announcements from the Youth Commission when they host a special meeting for area leaders next month. We continue to strive to be an affordable and attractive place to do business, and there's solid evidence of our success. As I said before, the University of North Dakota topped the 15,000 mark in registered students and continues to proudly claim the largest university enrollment in the state. The city saw a record number of births last year, 1,655, proof that people want to live here, work here, and raise their families here. 14 new businesses have located in Grand Forks that were named by the Buxton Retail Analytic Groups as good matches for our community, providing jobs and security for our residents. The number of people using the Grand Forks International Airport set another record last year, in part because of the addition of United Airlines that provides nonstop service to Denver and beyond. Under the engagement pillar of the Grand Forks Promise, we launched Engage the Forks, along with the Chamber, Community Foundation, and the City of East Grand Forks. We used Engage the Forks for the Blue Ribbon Commission on Housing and the NV360, the outstanding community visioning project that allowed more people to become engaged with planning our future. I'll have more on those landmark programs in a minute. The Engage the Forks platform has been one of the nation's most successful of its kind. You can be sure we'll use Engage the Forks again on issues like the Grand Forks Library and participatory budgeting. Speaking of engagement, who better to help us shape our future than those who will be here the longest to plan it, nurture it, and enjoy it? One of those people is Lacey Erickson, a recent UND graduate and a member of the Grand Forks Young Professional Organization.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. As a young professional, I have a vested interest in our community. I was brought here as a student at UND, but never had the thought that I would actually stay here. But there are so many opportunities, so many ways to get engaged, and so many ways to be part of Grand Forks' future. I jumped at the opportunity to be part of this speech. I went out and asked people around the community what they thought, and I will share those with you later in the speech.
To paraphrase President John F. Kennedy, the torch has truly begun to pass to many of the fine leaders who are part of the Grand Forks Young Professionals, and that torch is also being used to light 1,000 fires of engagement. We have found those 20 to 30-somethings have great insight on many issues we face. They give us a fresh perspective on how to look at things, sometimes the way that many of us experienced professionals wouldn't have considered. Change is hard, but it is necessary and can be quite exciting. Many of these young professionals have some innovative ideas for the future of Grand Forks. It's a great partnership that benefits us all. And today, I want to talk about a plan for the future. In fact, I call it the BIG plan. BIG stands for build, invest, and grow. Building means many things: building capacity, building leadership, building partnerships, and building engagement. We already have a strong foundation, and I want to prepare leaders for the future, strengthen partnerships, and broaden the base of involved citizens. Investing is investing resources, now and for the future. Investing doesn't necessarily mean spending money. It's also a way to deliberate, make thoughtful decisions, and set priorities for the weeks, months, and years ahead. And growth, not just in size or population, although healthy growth is a sign of progress and success, we also need to grow opportunities, optimism, and an overall community support for important efforts. Step one of the big plan is asset management, or actively tracking the assets we have as a city, how to maintain them, and how to financially plan for our future. Our public works crews do an outstanding job with things like clearing snow and maintaining critical water infrastructure. But they're also on the front lines when it comes to planning for our future needs. We've already started major infrastructure mapping and planning, a cooperative effort between the City Council, city staff, the Economic Development Corporation, and private partners A2S and CPS to electronically catalog underground water and sewer lines, lift stations, and annexation issues. It's technologies like our city's GIS and the incorporation of new tools like EarthMine, which is street-level, three-dimensional photos of every city-owned critical asset. Things like streets, curbs, and gutter, fire hydrants, and storm ponds, and more. Having this information right at our fingertips makes us more efficient because we don't have to send someone out in the field every time we need information. And it's safer too. No one has to stand in the middle of a busy intersection measuring for an upcoming project. We want to make sure that technology can integrate systems throughout the city to make sure all departments can make good use of them. Ultimately, it'll lead to more efficiencies and in the long run, save taxpayers money. One major asset we have to consider is a new regional water treatment plant. Over the next 3 years, legislative sessions and Grand Forks hopes to obtain funding to help build a new $130 million plant to serve the region. More than $50 million has already been invested since 1997, and the city has another $5 million allocation as part of the State Water Commission Appropriations Bill. Assets are not just things. We also have to consider our greatest asset, our people. I want to take this opportunity to thank our city employees for their dedication and hard work, and we'll continue to work closely with and value the input of the employee rep group. Our city administrator, our HR department, and other city staff work together to develop the Grand Forks Leadership Academy to prepare employees for future and current leadership roles in the city. We can't afford to lose valuable institutional memory that so many of these longtime employees have gathered over the years. The asset management program will help prevent that brain drain. Another part of building capacity in our city departments is putting people in the right places. And that's why we're proceeding with a plan to look at how City Hall functions and provide our people with the best work environment. Our residents rely on us not to deliver city services at the highest level, and we want to continue to make sure we continue that fine tradition. Step number 2 in the big plan is about housing. Last year in my State of the City speech, I called for the creation of a Blue Ribbon Commission on Housing to address the crunch that is restricting our ability to grow. We made history last year with the mildest winter any of us can ever remember, and that allowed construction projects to work practically nonstop throughout the year. 425 housing units were completed, the most in 7 years, and nearly up 25% from 2011. But despite that effort, we're still facing a housing shortage in Grand Forks.
The cost of housing has exploded. I mean, I lived in Moorhead, Minnesota, which is a fairly comparable town, and I got a 3-bedroom apartment for $670. And you try walking into an office here and they'll laugh you out the door.
We had 2 days to look for a house. It's a very, very tight housing market, so I think there definitely is room for improvement there.
The Blue Ribbon Housing Commission is doing just that. Builders, landowners, developers, government officials, and citizens have all come together to tackle these issues. I'd like to thank everyone who served on the Blue Ribbon Housing Task Force and give a special thanks to Practice Strategy and the co-chairs for leading this commission. The city is currently working on the recommendations and determining what we can do to implement those guiding principles. For example, the recent work by city staff and the council to rework stormwater policies may not sound that glamorous, but these changes are expected to save us 25 to 30% in current and future stormwater-related development costs. And that's great work and needs to be acknowledged. One thing is clear, our role in government is to create realistic optimism and market confidence so our builders, businesses, and families can invest here. Our approach is to make what's good for the community also good for the private sector. We have a perfect opportunity to put the Blue Ribbon Housing Commission strategies in place. Take a look at the 360 acres in the works just south of Super Target. The plan includes single-family homes, townhomes, apartments, a new elementary school, and integrated park space. With Guy Useldinger and his team, the school and park districts, the city, we're modeling a partnership approach to build neighborhoods, not just homes, and create a catalyst for future development. 5 years ago, I mentioned how Grand Forks must consider the needs of our maturing population and support a maturing population campus. I'm pleased to announce, although I can't unveil all the details, a plan is in place to do just that. It involves the Grand Forks Senior Center and other entities working together to develop a living complex specifically that will serve our regional maturing population, as well as offer a way to open up affordable housing stock. Housing needs could become even more crucial when the Grand Forks Air Force Base is named to host a new KC-46A tanker mission that's being considered by the Pentagon. Notice I said when and not if. Isn't that right, Colonel? Grand Forks is one of the 4 bases in the running and finds itself well positioned to fit the bill. That will mean even more military personnel to fly, maintain, and support a tanker wing. I know that Grand Forks Base is the perfect location. We've done it before, we have the infrastructure, the know-how, and a burning desire to do it again. John Marshall and our local team, together with our state and congressional leaders, are working hard to make sure this opportunity becomes a reality. At the same time, the Base Realignment Impact Committee, or BRIC for short, and our partners are actively working with what I'd call step 3 of the big plan, developing our region as the Silicon Valley of UAS, or unmanned aerial systems. This is a bold vision and a massive undertaking by BRIC and partners, including the congressional delegation and the state of North Dakota, UND Aerospace, Northland Community and Technical College, and private companies like Northrop Grumman, General Atomics, L3, and Insitu. The UAS sector must be an essential part of the state's economic investment plan and should serve as the capstone of the Valley Prosperity Partner launched by William Marcel last year that connects economic development efforts in both Grand Forks and Fargo. This year we expect major decisions to go our way, including airspace, training facilities, and an extremely visionary, the Enhanced Use Lease project that will help provide opportunities to secure high-paying jobs with companies that test, evaluate, and enhance remotely piloted aircraft like the Predator and Global Hawk missions. Make no mistake, this is a priority. This region will become known as the Silicon Valley of the UAS. Step 4 in the big plan is prioritizing infrastructure.
Rough and bumpy, and it does need to be repaired, and you have a lot of traffic in and out of the clinic and the hospital emergency room there, and there's a lot of ambulance traffic, and I think this is an important project.
That's another great idea, but as I said, we have to prioritize our infrastructure projects. While discussing, we will continue the 42nd Street overpass and 2 more pressing projects, our Highway 2 development and the 42nd Avenue interchange. Walmart has already unveiled plans to build a new 180,000 square foot retail facility west of 55th Street on south side of Gateway Drive. In the same area, we're working with oil and energy-related industries along Highway 2 as part of the Access the Bakken initiative. All of this will require investments in infrastructure. As we've already mentioned, the considerable growth potential in the south makes it obvious that our city priority must be an interstate interchange at 47th Avenue South. The 47th Avenue interchange will build on the momentum of the current development and literally open roadways to future commercial, industrial, and residential expansion. This includes an outlet mall and being able to jump the interstate for development on the west side of I-29. I'm asking City Council and staff to take the necessary steps to put the interchange on a solid track. Along with these future priorities, taking care of our existing roads is another must.
The road is too rough and bumpy, and it does need to be repaired, and you have a lot of traffic in and out of the clinic and the hospital emergency room there, and there's a lot of ambulance traffic, and I think this is an important project.
That road project is something I'll probably ask about 5 times a day, and here's the latest. The first phase of the Columbia Road reconstruction gets underway this year. It will take us from the south end of the Columbia Road overpass to and including the intersection of 11th Avenue South. When it's done, we'll have not 4, but 6 lanes to accommodate traffic on what's undoubtedly the busiest street in Grand Forks. We'll do our best not to add to traffic delays while the construction is underway, but it's a big project, and there will be times that it'll be best to avoid this area altogether. We'll keep you informed through our webpage, through the media, and through the Public Information Center. Step 5 is to continue our partnership with UND. We support UND in the legislature, and we're pleased Governor Dalrymple's budget has called for full funding of the $12 million expansion and renovation of the law school in the current legislative session. We also support the legislature providing resources for the full $124 million project to build a new health sciences building at UND and continue our local role to fill the growing need for healthcare professionals in North Dakota. Both of these plans are part of the university's continued support and commitment to excellence in developing a professional workforce, a critical component to future success. Earlier I talked about how enrollment numbers at UND have hit an all-time high, and that's commendable, but as President Kelly said, now is the time to concentrate on quality rather than quantity. We can also help by increasing opportunities to be engaged and continue linking academic life with Grand Forks quality of life. We can work on increased partnerships and internships. We'll continue efforts to promote wellness with respect to alcohol and positive life choices. We also leverage our talents and resources regarding sustainability issues like land use, energy use, and transportation. For example, university students are big users of the CAT, the city's area's transit. Ridership on the CAT jumped another 13% in 2012 to more than 371,000 riders. That's just fantastic. And today we have an exciting new addition that makes it even easier to use mass transit in Grand Forks. It's called Route Shout, a free mobile app that allows CAT riders to locate nearby bus stops and access transit schedule information on their smartphones.
Route Shout is a free mobile and smartphone app that tells you where the bus is and when it will arrive at a stop near you. Route Shout can also notify you about service disruptions or schedule changes, so you'll never be left out in the cold again. To find out more about how Cities Area Transit and Route Shout can make getting around easier for you, visit our website at grandforksgov.com. Cities Area Transit. Working together, we can all do our part to reduce traffic and keep Grand Forks green. Enjoy the ride.
I've already mentioned the success of NV360. One of the more popular ideas that came from the NV360 project was to create or reinforce arts and entertainment zones in our city. Two of the areas that have been identified as potential A&E districts are downtown Grand Forks and 42nd Street around the Alerus Center. I see this as a tremendous opportunity to think big, and these two areas are just the next steps in the big plan. First of all, we need to take downtown Grand Forks to the next level, focusing on arts, celebration, and events, and reach an even greater number of visitors. We will use the successful Blue Ribbon Commission model and bring together a diverse group charged with developing recommendations to create a downtown encompassing both sides of the river with broader appeal. I can even envision a new ad campaign, something like, go downtown, live downtown, work downtown, play downtown, eat downtown, so go downtown. The Rhombus guy suggested that, and I like it. Of course, it may need a little bit more polish, but that's where we call on this new group, as well as request the help of our professionals at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, who have consistently done such a fantastic job marketing our community. The second area is what we've called the Destination Corridor, 42nd Street adjacent to the Alerus Center. We see not one, not two, but 3 hotels that are under construction that will help alleviate the burden to the Alerus Center that it encounters when it hosts an event like the recent record-setting George Strait concert, or one of its signature conventions. Only 10 years ago, all we had was the Alerus Center and the Valley Dairy across the street. By 2006, we had added the Canad Inn and Water Park and Choice Financial at 17th Avenue South. By 2009, we saw the addition of housing units just south of Ray Richards Golf Course. Last year, AE2S, Icon Architects, Black Gold Potato, and the Sleep Inn had located nearby. And today, the 71-room Expressway Suites and nearby retail complex are starting to take shape on the east side of the road. More residential construction potential has opened up in the Garden View Drive area, and the Hampton Inn is nearing completion further south on 42nd. And the Grove, 224 units largely targeting university students, is expected to break ground north of the Canad Inn this spring. And the city, in partnership with Icon Architects, the Community Foundation, the Chamber, and the Center for Innovation, are planning a public art project in that part of town. The next step in the big plan is to continue to position Grand Forks as a leader in the area of sustainability. This includes our plan to track, monitor, and manage our buildings with energy and maintenance plans, our fleet management system, and simply embedding the solid principles of sustainability into the fiber of what we do as an organization.
Do you recycle?
Yes.
What do you like about Grand Forks recycling program?
I like that I can just throw it all in one container and they just take it. I don't have to separate it or anything.
Residents recycled more than 2,500 tons of plastic, aluminum, cardboard, glass, and paper last year. That's up 6% from the previous year and nearly 30% from just 5 years ago. But we want to do even better. In 2012, a recycling task force set up by the Service Safety Committee did a complete review of sanitation and recycling services in Grand Forks. As part of the recommendations from the task force, the Public Works Department will offer different service levels of trash recycling pickup, a pay-as-you-throw program. One option for those who recycle more than they throw away will include a 90-gallon container on wheels, similar to the size now offered for trash, and a smaller 60-gallon container, also on wheels, for non-recycled materials. We are a model of sustainability in many ways, and through greater partnerships and leadership, we can do even more. The final step in the big plan is building local support for necessary new amenities for our community, our citizens, and our visitors. Our community attitude is definitely becoming even more optimistic, but we can do even more to be supportive locally. For starters, we have 2 incredible concerts coming up. Jason Aldean right here at the Alaris, and REO Speedwagon, Styx, and Ted Nugent at the Ralph. Do you want to know a way to support our community and have fun? Buy your tickets now, and I'm reminded they're on sale. So I'll see you down at the ticket office. On a larger scale, I want to support the Community Foundation in taking an even greater role in shaping our future. The Community Foundation is a key catalyst in connecting donors with dreams and building legacies. As far as specific projects that will be important this year, we support the development of the Sunshine House, a place for families to stay while loved ones are undergoing hospital treatments, procedures, and recovery at all through health system. We also need to support the Veterans Memorial Project that's just getting underway. What a great way for our community to say thank you. We can also support the new youth ice arena that will be adjacent to the Choice Health and Fitness Center. It's a $7.5 million project, but the Park District is already 2/3 of the way there. When complete, they'll be able to provide more ice time opportunities for locals, as well as great new location to host youth hockey tournaments, helping reduce travel costs for parents, and create a nearly $6 million in positive impact to the city.
I think it would be really nice if we were out in this area where we come to exercise. And sometimes if parents drop off their children to swim or whatever, they could always just go right down the street here and go to the library, or hopefully take their children there too, of course.
Ah, yes, the library. Grand Forks Public Library continues to enrich minds, inspire imaginations, and connect the community. In 2012, the library took a giant leap forward. It now offers Nook e-readers for checkout and more available electronically online. However, facility issues continue to be an ongoing concern, especially as library use increases. A facilities need assessment was conducted by JLG Architects, which outlined problems with the current facility and the associated cost to correct those issues. An 18-member Library Future Vision Working Group composed of community members has just been created to determine how these facility issues might be best addressed. This group can lead the process that will define the vision, value, and the purpose of the library. A great community deserves a great library. Our community must engage a robust, open, and honest dialogue about the very essence of a library and the means by which to move forward. From the very beginning, libraries serve to accumulate, coordinate, and provide access to information in order to play a meaningful role to society. We learned from our NV360 that our community members are thirsting for this access, and I believe the library can quench this thirst. A private-first, public-second investment model has proven successful in other communities, as well as with our own local project. I look forward to assisting the Vision Group as it tackles these important issues. Well, that's the big plan: building, investing, and growing. But most important of all is the plan. Without planning, without engaging our citizens, working together, we're only guessing about our needs. We end up doing everything piecemeal. With a plan, we can eliminate that guesswork. We have that plan in place, and we're well on our way to shaping our community for future generations. We must build, both with bricks and mortar and with leaders, to continue to develop partnerships to solidify those common goals we share and encourage engagement throughout the community. We need to invest in our community, not just with money, but with careful and diverse deliberations to help shape our future. We want to see our community grow, but we want to do it wisely. We need to give ourselves the time to develop plans, the patience to see those plans mature, and the opportunities to celebrate our success. It's a big plan, and we all have ways to contribute. It may be an idea here or there, a commitment to be part of a building or investing process, or just thinking big, thinking outside the box. Just think of the things we've accomplished in the past year. It makes me so very proud to have been part of what Grand Forks has become, and I can't wait to see what we accomplish together in the years to come. Thank you.